Hello, everyone. Marisa Shadrick here with another podcast episode. And today we're going to talk about the value of high value offers. And sometimes entrepreneurs think that it's all about their marketing, it's all about their copy, but you have to have a great offer to start with. So that's what we're going to talk about here today on the Resilient Faith online show. So I really appreciate you joining me today. I have a little bit of a deeper voice today, so forgive me for that. I may have to pause and edit out a little bit of a cough that I have. I'm overcoming a COVID right now, and so I'm in the healing part of it and kind of toward the tail end, but I'm still feeling a little fatigued, and so I'm cutting my days short and doing minimal until I'm 100%. But I'm glad to be here today to give you this podcast episode because I feel it's really, really important to really begin to distinguish between high ticket and high value offers. I think it's really, really important. So today we're going to tackle the question about high value offers and high ticket. Now, I know you've probably heard the term before, high ticket. I think there's a difference between the two, and I want to clarify what I mean by that. So when we're talking about products, we often want to have something that provides lots and lots of value, and we want to be compensated for it. But sometimes high ticket doesn't necessarily equal high value. And I don't know what type of products and services you've purchased in the past. I've purchased a number of them because I feel it's important to invest in yourself and continue to learn. But sometimes high ticket is not necessarily high value. So we're going to break it down a little bit today, and I'm going to give you some information. It won't take very long because I don't know how long my voice will hold out. But in any event, I want to share some things for you to consider and think about. I think years ago, we would hear a lot about high ticket, and it was a great way for people to be able to charge $5,000 and up for a program, and maybe they had a team that delivered on the features of the program, and everything was great, right? And then we had COVID that came, and a lot of things changed, the market changed, and I think people just want more than just information and modules and features. And so I make the distinction between high ticket and high value. And even high value doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to charge a lot of money. It just depends on your market. And so we're going to look into this so that if you do have a product that you're trying to promote and trying to launch, and it's not going as well as you think it should, maybe it's your marketing, maybe it's your copy, but maybe it's the product itself. Maybe just small little tweaks will help it become more appealing to your ideal audience. So let's just start with a couple of overarching ideas. Now, I don't know who your market is, if you're marketing to large organizations that have teams, or if you're marketing to maybe a solopreneur, if you're B2B or B2C, B2 consumer, maybe you have a product that helps moms of young kids, or maybe you have a product that helps entrepreneurs, B2B. Whatever it might be, you really need to consider some of these things when you're trying to align your marketing with your offer. So it's interesting, some of the facts that came up when we had the International Women's Day, which was March 8th. I looked at a lot of the content that came out because there was a lot of articles, a lot of statistics, a lot of things that had come up as a result of that day. And I realized that many people are not making as much as you would think online, especially women. So if your target is women, you want to really dive into the market research and figure out, where are they on the scale? And so some of the statistics that came up were interesting. One in particular that said that 88% of women-owned businesses generate less than $100,000 annually. Now that should trigger something in your mind. Now, if your target is women and it's B2B, and you know that 88% of women-owned businesses generate less than 100,000, then you need to consider what your high-value offer is going to be. So if you've noticed some of these so-called high tickets have come down in price too. Either they offer less time with the person providing the high value offer, or maybe it's been adjusted where they meet less often than rather more frequently. And so there's been adjustments that have been made, or maybe there are lower offers that are being promoted right now until the economy gets a little better and so forth. But the main thing you want to think about is your market. Where are they? What type of revenue do they have? How much can they invest? One of the things my dear friend Mike Kim said, don't try to charge more than what they're potentially making. Like, for example, if they're making 100,000, what's the most that they would invest in themselves? Would it be 10% of that? Would it be 5% of that? And then go from there and begin to think about what your high value offer is going to be. The reason why it's so important to really get clarity on your offer is once you begin to market, you're going to be talking about your offer. You're going to be aligning some of the results and some of the benefits and some of the transformation that you offer in your conversation. And so it's important to get the offer right first before you market. Now, if you're marketing, you still need a lot of people. You still need to be in front of a lot of people, which is why I teach my program, Impact and Income, so that people can begin to market a different way and begin to establish themselves as expert speakers on established platforms. Because as I've said it before, we don't do it alone. We're not enough alone. We are enough to be respected. We're enough to be valued. We're enough to be appreciated. We're enough to have opportunities. But when it comes to the online space, we need to align ourselves with a network of peers, and we need to be around new audiences as much as possible. So that's what that program is about. It's about not only having impact, but income as well. And so in that program, I teach people the first 3 months is a 90-day intensive where they're able to create their media kit and really dial in on their messaging, on their cornerstone content, to be able to speak as an expert on other platforms. And that could mean a variety of different ways. That could be podcast guesting, or that could be doing workshops. It could be a variety of different ways. But the reason why that's important is that we're just going to look at numbers so that you can get an idea. Say you get in front of new audiences for the year 2023, and at the end of the year, say you've had an opportunity to get in front of 100,000 people, whether or not it was through workshops, whether it was a summit, whether it was podcast guesting, whether it was guest posts or articles that you've done, you've been able to get in front of 100,000 people. Now that sounds a lot, right? But if you go by the simple rule of 10%, if 10% of those people ended up on your email list, then that would mean 10,000 new subscribers. And then if you continue with the formula of 10%, 10% of those 10,000 subscribers could have registered for some type of free event that you had, which would mean about 1,000 registrants, right? Out of those 1,000 registrants, if you figured how many of them would have attended live, nowadays people aren't attending live as often or as much as they used to. So if we look at it and we consider 20%, which is pretty generous, 20% of 1,000 attend live, that's 200 people that attend live to your event. And if we take 10% of that, of those 200 people, 10% actually buy, that means 20 people will buy. So you see how the numbers from the very beginning of having that visibility of 100,000 all the way down to the nitty gritty of having them maybe show up live and actually convert, and you're looking at 10% having 20 people to actually buy. If your offer is a $5,000 offer and you have 20 people that buy, then that equals $100,000. But you see why the marketing is so important and why getting in front of established audiences is so important, and having a great high value offer. Because once you have them in your ecosystem, you want to be able to invite them to your program. And so your program has to be really dialed in. Otherwise, all that effort is just going to be gone, and you're not going to have another opportunity with that group. And so it's really important to dial that in. So why information is no longer enough to attract clients. Information is readily available through Google. And so information is there. We can get information just about on anything. It's accessible, right? We don't have to go to a library. We don't have to have an encyclopedia. It's all available to us. But value is so much more than just information. Here are a few things that I want you to consider. Value is extremely important. People have really, really expensive problems. The longer they delay in seeing the results that they want, whether it's mindset, whether no matter what the situation is, they're struggling. They're in a place of struggle, and they're in a place of pain, and they're in a place of maybe not generating revenue, which is really expensive if they've already invested in tools. So they need to get results, right? So information is not enough because people have expensive and maybe a problem that has lingered for a long, long time. The second reason is people are always concerned about risk. They don't want to risk anything anymore. They want something that's going to set them up as best as possible for success. And so the product that you're thinking of, that high value, what is it that will help them feel like they're minimizing the risk? And so that's what you have to think about, how present you're going to be. I think it's really important for us to walk them through a process that we have and be there to answer questions and make ourselves available. That's one of the things that I think is really important and different, as far as what I provide, is that I make myself available to my community, those people that are in my program. They have access to me at any time. And if they book some type of event or summit and they're not sure what to do, and they know they can contact me. They know they can contact me, and we can jump on a call and we can iron out some things and help them to move forward. So they have that first priority with me. And so it's important to always let them know that they're not alone. I think for myself, I think that's important for people not to know that they are alone. So people are concerned with risk, and you want to make sure your high value offer minimizes risk as much as possible. We can't make guarantees for each person, but we can certainly be there to support them and give them all of the skills, all of the knowledge, all of the experience that we have to set them up for success. Also, number 3 is people question their ability to achieve results. Value gives them confidence. So when you offer value, people will begin to believe that they can do this. And so every effort, every step that they make is not in vain. They know that they're going to be able to accomplish this because they really don't want people question whether they can accomplish this or not. And sometimes you just have to remind them of some of the skills and the knowledge and some of the experience that they have and how much value that brings, because they're shortening the learning curve for someone else. Number 4 is people value time. Time is one of the greatest assets that we have. Anything that can help reduce the amount of time it takes to anything will be a benefit, right? Anything that saves us time, because we just, in this world where we have computers and all of the things, I think back in the computer age that it was supposed to make our lives easier and we were supposed to generate work faster, and yet we ended up with more work with computers, and we ended up working not only in a workspace but also at home, and it followed us with our phones, and the computer age just seemed to give us more work. And now with the buzz of ChatGPT, that how much faster it'll be to create content, to me, it just tells me that people are going to be doing more work. More work. If they can produce more things faster, the expectation is going to be higher to create more, And there's this unsatisfied hunger for everybody to produce more and make the same amount that they've been making. And so People value time. So if your high value offer can help them reduce the time it takes to reach some type of transformation or be able to save time in some way, that has high value. That is far more important than information alone. And then people want things simple. They want to be able to understand something, right? There's nothing worse than feeling dumb when you're reading something or trying to apply something and you don't know how something works. People want things that are simple. People are tired of technology and all these tools. Everything needs another tool and another tool, and there's a learning curve to the tool, and it's so complicated. And I don't feel it needs to be complicated. I think we need to get back to human connection and be able to have those conversations that maybe they're uncomfortable and we're not used to having those conversations with people one-on-one or with groups, but we need to be able to have those conversations because we truly want to help someone else achieve a goal or achieve a success or a transformation. And it just takes conversation, and it's always a win for everyone. So the 5 things that I think is very valuable and far more important than information is, again, that people have existing problems that are very expensive or have been there for a long time, and it's very taxing. Number 2, there's always a concern with risk, so you want to minimize risk. Number 3 is they question the ability whether they can achieve the results, and oftentimes they need someone to come alongside and help them see those blind spots. Number 4, people value time. Time is very, very important to all of us, right? And number 5 is people want things simple. They want a simple path, digestible steps that they can apply. The other point I want to make is that when you have a high value offer and you're already in motion and you're already fulfilling it and you're interacting with clients, it's going to alert you to other things that they may need, things that can potentially become other products, maybe some mid-range product or starter product that you can have, so you can have a suite of products. And that way, when you do have conversations with people, if they're not ready for your high value offer, they may be ready for something else that maybe is a lower investment or maybe a starter investment, but they're still in your ecosystem. You're still helping them. You're still serving them. You're still in communication with them. So it's really important to realize that once you get started, your high value offer, and that doesn't mean necessarily high ticket. It could turn out to be a high ticket as you tweak it and improve it and perfect it each time you launch it. But in the beginning, it will give you lots of information as far as other products that you can create. So there's a sense of continuity between all of them, but at the same time, it gives you some options to offer when you're talking to people one-on-one as well. The other thing to realize is that your client's success rate is going to increase with a high value offer. And here's a few reasons why. Here's 3 reasons why. Because when you have a high value offer and say you're offering something that's $2,000 or $3,000, and it's an investment, right? It's a chunk of change that people are investing in you. And that's always, I never take that for granted. I never take it for granted, any investment that anybody makes with me, even if it's the membership site that's only $7. I'm always honored that people are investing and being a part of something that I've offered. But one of the things is it increases their emotional investment. So not only are they investing financially, but emotionally they're investing as well. And so this is huge as far as the results that they're going to get. The second one is as they're emotionally invested, it will also increase the client's commitment to that program. And that's important. You've heard the term skin in the game. I don't like that term for some reason. It just doesn't resonate with me. But it's that same idea that people, if they're emotionally invested, they're going to be more committed. And as a result, the third point is that the probability of achievement and success is there because they're emotionally and physically invested and they're committed. They've made a decision to do this. And so that's going to increase their probability of achievement. So why a high value offer indirectly satisfies your prospect's most profound concern. Again, it's not about information, right? It's much more intimate than that because people do not want to fail. People are trying to interpret what you have to offer to their business, to their audience, everybody's products, everybody's services, what their origin story is. Everything is very, very different. So sometimes they need someone to interpret or translate how this would fit their specific niche or market. And you can only do that having conversations. And a high value offer, again, I feel like has to have a component of coaching in it so that people can get the most value out of it and be able to understand how to implement whatever strategy, whatever blueprint you're trying to offer so they can implement it and get the success that they want. So again, in recap, high ticket doesn't necessarily mean high value. High value is really understanding your market first, understanding where they're coming from and walking alongside them and providing something that's really going to satisfy not only the knowledge that they're looking for, but also the emotional struggle that they're going through so that you can help them achieve the success that they're looking for. And so with that, it creates a snowball effect because as people begin to get transformation, then you get more meaningful testimonials. You see the before and after story. It really has changed these days. It really, being able to buy something that just has modules in it where no one is really coaching you, no one is really helping assess maybe something that you created. I like to get in the weeds with people and I like to help them create their media kit and help them if they have a speaking opportunity because I've done that before. I've hosted radio shows. I've been in speech competitions. You know, I understand how overwhelming it could be to just pull a slice of your life and make it simple. Trying to find simplicity in this very complicated world is one of the hardest things. Simplicity is hard. When someone does something in the speech competition, for example, when I won, people kept saying, wow, I can't believe it. That talk was so simple. It was because it was simple that an international audience could understand the encouraging message that I had to share. It was no longer about one demographic. It was really bringing it to the human level, heart to heart, to be able to communicate something that was encouraging. So I just want to encourage you today that if you're creating some type of offer, that really look at the offer and see if it checks some of the boxes that I suggested today and see how you can possibly tweak it because sometimes it's just 1 degree of adjustment and we've got a winning offer. And as far as the marketing goes, you know, that is something that I do and I do all day, every day, and I love it. And I help people, like I said, get themselves to a point where they feel like an expert contributor on established platforms so they can begin to leverage and talk to more people without the funnels, without all of the Facebook ads, without all of the stress of posting everywhere and being everywhere. At the time of this recording, I basically just do the podcast and then I also do LinkedIn. That doesn't mean I don't post on other social platforms. I simply repurpose it into other platforms. So I hope that was helpful for you today. I just want to encourage you that if you have a desire to help people and really help them get from their before story to their after story, and you have the expertise to do that, just hang in there and continue to adjust and tweak because that's something that we all have to do. And if you want to join my program of Impact and Income, I am right now talking to people, one-on-one conversations about it. It's going to open in May. Get on my calendar and we'll have a conversation about it and I can tell you all about that. It is a full program that we start with 90 days intensive, and then we go on to a 6-month mastermind just to get you into the rhythm of rinse and repeat so that you can continue to have an awesome, wonderful marketing strategy. So until next time, thanks so much for listening, and I hope you found this really, really helpful. Take care. Bye-bye.